Well, it happened. Boys and girls, the KX500, not AF, but steel frame SF Motard conversion is back with its hand-fabbed aluminum gas tank, and we are ready to get this thing fired and back on the street again. So get pumped, get excited, because she's back, boys. What's up, YouTube fam? So yeah, it's true. The KX500 Motard is back, and it took, unfortunately, longer than I projected to get the gas tank done, but the gas tank is done. It's a great job, you know, hand welded, hand fabbed aluminum gas tank that gives me plenty of clearance underneath for the spark plug, which was the important part before. And then obviously adds a nice, real high performance custom look to it. So anyways, now that the tank's done, I can focus on a lot of the other things that were getting overlooked in the first place. So obviously things like the gas tank were holding back mounting a lot of the other things permanently because I didn't know exactly where they needed to go. So that being said, now I could finally mount the muffler and the exhaust pipe, and we were able to find Kickstarter off of a 1987 KX500. The problem with this is out of like a 92 or a 93 KX500. The Kickstarter that comes on that year, the knuckle right here is too high, and it actually hit the frame. And doing a little bit of digging, I did find out that the 87 88 years had a little smaller snout on it, so it clears the frame. I do have to either remove a little material from the top of this or from the spot on the frame, not very much, maybe an eighth of an inch, something like that, to get it to completely come down to the peg. Right now it stops right here on the swing arm knuckle, but it works a lot better. Anyways, moving on. So things like, yeah, the exhaust pipe we can get on there. I need to get on Service Honda. I got a list of stuff here. I need to get on Service Honda, and they have a special pipe, or hose, should I say. Because of how the exhaust pipe is formed on this, it hits this water neck if it's facing down normally. So you have to flip it up, and then Service Honda sells literally a hose that looks like a question mark, and it fits perfectly, and then you're able to run your header. And then small stuff, I get the discs on the front and rear hubs, find out a gearing ratio. I am hearing that a 1445 and a 1443 is good. I don't know if any of you guys had any more input on that one. And then it's probably just going to come down after that to the little fine touches. We are going to lower the suspension, get more of that Motard drop to it, put some different springs on it, maybe look for a drop link for the back. Like I said, this is originally a 2004 KX250F frame, so there should be a link laying around on some of these mail order sites for a link for this thing. So I'm excited to get back into it. It's been a while since it's been in the shop garage, whatever, but I'm happy it's finally here, because I definitely can't wait to try this thing for one and see it being done too. So I'm going to keep making my list here, and then I think first things first, we got to find either the hose here locally or order it so I get the exhaust pipe mounted, get the lower bracket made for supporting the pipe, and then work our way back to the muffler, which will obviously need to be welded as well, because there's no tabs for the muffler mounting, because it was for a 4-stroke. So a lot to do, but like I said, this is going to be so awesome when it's done. I can't wait, guys. I'm pumped to have it back at the shop. So let's get going, guys. All right, YouTube fam. So I got my list together, and it's a little bit more extensive than I was expecting, but we got to do what we got to do, right? So we're looking at, we need that water pump to cylinder hose. I've been looking up, and it looks like a 1446 sprocket combo is what's going to work nice for this on the road. Obviously, got to put the front rear disc brakes on it. Got to put the correct spacers inside the wheels, front and rear. I need to make a special fuel line for it because the petcock is in a different spot now, and it's actually angled in a different direction too. It also needs a fitting for the new style petcock that is in there. I need to weld up the exhaust mounts, the muffler mounts. The cylinder head bolt is just threaded rod, as I was trying to figure out exactly how long I needed it to be. So we need a proper cylinder head bolt. We need a proper length lower engine mount bolt, mud flap, possible plastics for the whole bike, and I was thinking all black. And then, you know, with some nice graphics on it. What do you guys think? Post your comment down below. What color do you think the KX500SF Super Motard should be? Should we keep it OG Kawasaki green? Try some white? Go black? What do you guys think in there? Let me know down below. Obviously, we need to use a shock spring, get something lower with a lowering link. Obviously, you need to do the same thing up front as well. And then, unfortunately, this thing is a little oily on the fork tube, so we're going to have to do a little bit of a fork service on it. But I think after going over this list and checking it twice, I think this is exactly what we'll need to finish this thing up. So a lot of these things, obviously, I'm not going to be able to get done in this episode, but we can most definitely attack, get these spacers done, get these wheels. I guess I can't get the back on because I need a sprocket for the rear, but we can get some stuff done for sure. Let's get going. So one of the things I was describing to you guys was this water neck piece right here. Normally, it's if you unbolt it, it plugs right into this hose right here, and it just goes straight down to the water pump. Well, with this Honda, that I think you could only specifically get at Service Honda from their website. They have it made just for these 500 engines. Pipe fits in here great now. I'll get it fully inside the header piece and everything, like that. If you can see how this water neck just sits just above the pipe. And now if it was facing down, it'd obviously be hitting. So that's why we need a hose that's shaped literally like a question mark to come up, over, and then go right back down in there again. And I know, again, Service Honda makes that that hose, but I think that this is probably either a 5/8 hose, and I bet you at an auto parts store I could find one that will fit. So that's the challenge. Obviously, the other issue is going to be making a mount, and I think I'm going to make a plate because these holes are actually threaded. I could take the exhaust pipe off, a little bit of wiggling, comes out, but those are threaded in there, and I'm curious if I can just make a plate that comes off of those to that bracket when it's plugged in, or if I need to weld a tab so then I can have the rubber mounted ones that are on like 2 strokes, you know, and such. They have the rubber mounted ones that can kind of pivot with the vibration. I think a solid mount one would be a bad decision, as opposed to just welding a tab off of here and then running a rubber mounted pipe mount to that. I think that actually might be the better. I am a little worried about this. This is my dipstick clearance, or dipstick. I'm a dipstick for saying that, but the oil fill plug, I'll plug the exhaust all the way back in. So that's about my oil plug clearance. And with the head pipe plugged all the way in, I don't have very much, so I might look for a hex style oil fill cap instead of with this big knob sticking out of here, to make that a little easier to do the oil changes and such. So, and then that's nice. 87 kickstart does not hit the pipe, so we won't have any weird rattling noises coming from that. So things are going good, guys. I'm really digging it. So steady as she goes. So as luck would have it, I ended up going to our local auto parts store and I found this. Gates hose part number 18701. And from what I can tell, it makes that question mark movement that we need almost exactly. So I thought, hey, for the price, why not give it a shot? But first, we need to heat up the hose right down here because it is a little tight. And then also we need to make sure that the upper part of the hose here, when it makes this arc, that it does not pinch. Because if it pinches, then we're going to be blocking coolant, and that would be no good. So we don't want to do that for sure. But I need to mark the spot in which I need to cut it. And then let's just see if we can make this thing work, because I'm kind of excited to see exactly how it comes out. So I'm going to make a little mark here, and you want to be a little liberal on giving it some space for hose flex. As the hose gets hotter, it will expand a little bit, so you don't want to make it too tight. You want to give it a little room to expand, and obviously you don't want that thing to pinch. So get yourself a set of sharp cutters and then make your cut. And you always want to leave a little bit more just in case you can't add more length to the hose. So you have to definitely make sure and give it some room. Heat it up so we know it's going to slide over this joint nicely, because this is an 11/16 on this side. The bottom part was 5/8, which is correct. So I'm going to hit it with a little bit of WD-40 just to help it slide on a little bit too. And let's see if this thing fits. Oh God, I didn't even have to try. It fits perfectly. Check that out. And there's no pinches either. Now when we put in the exhaust, it will come across here. The hose won't get in the way. It'll be tucked next to the cylinder, and I think this will work great. And after a little bit of pipe fitting and did a little bit of trimming on the hose, it's time to put on the hose clamps. And you want to make sure and not reuse any old hose clamps on these things. These 500s do tend to vibrate a little bit more, and so you want to make sure and use some new hose clamps. And when I'm putting these on here, you want to make sure that they're rolled in, tucked away as far as possible, where they're not going to be hitting on the expansion chamber where it can make a rattling noise or even wear a hole through the exhaust pipe. But this seems to fit great. I'm happy. So now the ultimate test is going to be, obviously to see if our, little customization worked. Obviously I know it will, because the pipe, as we saw, it literally comes right underneath the elbow of this water neck right here. Other than I'm going to need an oil fill plug, which is fine. Let's just see how this fits. Work the header up inside the head here. Give it a couple taps for good measure. Voila. Just like that, boys. We made a radiator hose. Me a little radiator hose, and it just clears. And I'll make sure when I hard mount the pipe to make sure that it remains to have a little gap right there, or else we'll have a future problem. But as of right now, Kickstarter still doesn't hit. The hose clears fine. I have seen before you can put a little joint up in here that has a bleeder valve, because there is a possibility of getting a little air bubble stuck up in here, being now we've created a new high point for the cooling system. Before, the high point was the cylinder right here, which it does have a bleeder right here. We also created a new part for an air bubble right here. So there is some ways to make sure that you do not get an air bubble in here, and that's to take off the hose, fill up the hose, like prime it almost, and then hurry up and put it back on, but it still leaves an air bubble. I've heard from a couple guys you could even tilt the front end of the motorcycle up like quite a bit too, and then you'll be able to move the air bubble further down the stream. So, But that's a very important part to make sure you get that air bubble out of there. And obviously, if they come with an air valve up there on top of the cylinder, it's because these KX500s are known to trap water, or trap air, not water. Thank God they trap water. If they didn't trap water, we'd have other problems than the obvious, right? So anyway, all right, guys. So I know it's kind of a short video tonight, and I apologize about that, but I had to get you guys up to speed. I had to show you what was going on, what I was all excited about. And it's been, I wouldn't say overwhelming, but it's been a lot of messages and comments and hitting me up on Instagram and even Snapchat asking where this bike's been. And it literally took 3 months for the guy to do the gas tank. Obviously, it doesn't take 3 months to do a gas tank, but it is what it is. He took his time on that and just had to wait it out. But either way, the gas tank's done. I do realize there is one major flaw in the gas tank, and that is that it has no vent system. The gas cap that's on it right now is a sealed gas tank. Like, there's no way for it to vent. So I'm going to have to drill a hole and either weld in a bung or a nipple or something to create some sort of a vent system for this gas tank, or else it'll suction tight. You know, if you puncture a hole in the very bottom of a water bottle, you know, it's gonna trickle out very slowly. But if you let go of the cap, it's gonna dump out a lot faster. So it's kind of the same thing, guys, with this gas tank. I mean, it would run for a couple minutes until the suction inside the gas tank, and then stop the fuel flow. So I got to create some sort of a vent on the very top for it to vent out. And so that's going to be one thing I need to add to the list. So obviously this bike is going to be some bit of a work in progress. It's going to be a lot for you guys to watch here on YouTube, and I appreciate you all. If you're new to the channel and it's your first time viewing, go ahead and click that subscribe button and make sure and click that reminder bell. If you like what you see, and if you're stoked that this thing's back in the shop, garage, whatever, make sure and give this video a thumbs up. It helps me out a lot, guys, because it puts my video up in the recommended videos for other people who are searching related criteria. So I do appreciate it, guys. Hit me up on Instagram, @LundumX, Snapchat, @LundumX, all the social medias basically is @LundumX. And I'll be glad to help you guys or answer any questions that you got. But for right now, from the shop, garage, whatever, I'm going to call it a night. I obviously need to go on the computer and make some orders. But I'm excited because now, in between this, I'm going to be bringing in the 87 KX125. If you guys remember the 87 KX125, I'm going to put that on the stand opposing from this one. And I'm going to start putting that thing together while I'm waiting for parts for this. So I'm going to have two Kawasaki's coming back to life at the same time. So the 87 KX125, we're going to start putting that back together now that I think I have all the parts for that. And then obviously the Super Motard going back together. So I'm really stoked. Got a lot of projects going on again. And it's going to make for some great video content for you guys. I'm excited to get it done. So either ways, guys, shop, garage, whatever. Clint Lund, LundumX. Love every single one of you guys. I will talk to you guys soon. That's a promise. Peace out for now.